Do you guys want to know what I was thinking about last time? Like, it was just a random thought in my head in the middle of the night. What happened to playing outside with your childhood friends? There was the last time you played outside with your childhood friends, and you probably don't remember it. Nobody announced it. Nobody looked around and said, well, I guess this is it. You just went home. Maybe your mom called you inside because dinner was ready. Maybe it started getting dark. Maybe you said, I'll see you tomorrow. And maybe you did, until eventually, one day you didn't. And without realizing it, an entire chapter of your life ended. We rarely know when something is ending. That's the strange thing about life. We always remember your first day of school, your first car, your first job, your first relationship, your first time traveling somewhere. We always take pictures of beginnings and we celebrate them. Sometimes we write down the dates. But what about last? Most of them disappear without us noticing. There was the last time your parents picked you up and carried you. At some point, they put you down and never picked you up again. Neither of you knew. There was the last time you slept in your childhood bedroom while it still felt like your room. A last time you walked through your high school as a student. A last time you and your childhood friends were all together before any of the jobs, relationships, or families. And suddenly, life pulled everyone in different directions. At the same time, it just felt like another day. And that's what makes it a bit strange. When you're young, everything feels permanent. It seems like your friends will always live 5 minutes away. Your parents will always be downstairs. Your siblings will always be annoying to you. Your dog will always be waiting at the door. Summer will always come back. And technically, I guess summer does come back. But never that same summer. Never with those exact people. At that exact age. With that exact version of yourself. You don't realize how temporary everything is. Because when you're living inside a moment, it doesn't feel temporary. It just feels like life. Think about your childhood home. Maybe you can still picture it. The hallway, the kitchen, the couch, the weird little things about the house nobody else would remember. Maybe there was a spot on the wall, a door never closed properly, a sound the house made at night. Maybe you can remember exactly what it felt like waking up there on a Saturday morning, no work, no bills, no real responsibilities, just cartoons, video games, cereal, and an entire day ahead of you. You probably never stopped and thought, I'm going to miss this one day when it's all gone. Why would you? It was a normal day, and then one day, it wasn't. And maybe the hardest part isn't places, it's people. Think about someone who you used to be part of your everyday life, who you barely speak to anymore. There was probably a time when you couldn't imagine that happening. You knew everything about each other, inside jokes, stories nobody else understood, talked about what life would look like when you got older. And then, bam, you got older. Maybe nothing bad even happened. No argument, no betrayal, no dramatic goodbye. Life just started moving. Messages became less frequent. Plans became harder to make. We should hang out soon became something you said every few months until eventually you became memories in each other's lives. And somewhere along the way, there was a last normal day together. Neither of you knew it. Maybe that's why nostalgia hurts. Sometimes you'll hear an old song and suddenly you're somewhere else. You're 14 again. You're sitting in a car with people you haven't seen in years. You're playing a game you haven't touched since childhood. You're back in a house that doesn't belong to your family anymore. For a few seconds, you can almost feel it. And then it's gone. Maybe that's why nostalgia feels good and terrible at the same time. Because maybe you're not necessarily wishing you can go back. You just wish you could visit for 5 minutes. Just to see it again. To walk through the house, sit in that room, hear those voices, look around. And this time, actually realize that it won't last forever. And the weirdest part about it, when we're living in those moments, we're probably waiting for something else to happen. When you're a kid, you want to be a teenager. When you're a teenager, you want to drive. Then you want to graduate. Then you want to make a lot of money. Then you want to own your own place. Then you want the better job, the better car, the relationship, the house, the next vacation, the next weekend. We're constantly waiting for life to begin, And while waiting, life is happening right now. This boring Tuesday you barely thought about might someday be something you'd give anything to experience again. That's something I've been thinking about. We always talk about the good old days as if they're somewhere behind us, but what if some of them haven't happened yet? What if you're living through one right now? There might be someone in your life today who unfortunately won't always be there. Maybe there's a place you visit all the time that someday you'll never see again. Maybe your friend group will never exist exactly like this again. Maybe your parents are getting older and you haven't really noticed because you see them all the time. Maybe there's something you complain about today that you'll strangely miss someday. We can't know. That's the whole point. I don't think the answer is to walk around terrified that something is going to end. That would make life miserable. Maybe it's just about noticing things a little more, being more aware. Maybe stay at the table for another 10 minutes. Take a picture, call your friend, ask your parents about their lives, pet your dog when they walk over to you. Look around and breathe every once in a while. And actually look, not because this is definitely the last time, but because one day, one of those times will be the last time. There's probably something you've done thousands of times that you've already done for the last time. You just don't know what it is yet. And there are things you're doing today that you might do 100 more times. We just don't get to know which is which. Maybe that's what makes ordinary moments so valuable. Not because every moment needs to be incredible. Not because you need to constantly remind yourself that life is short. But because moments that end up meaning the most rarely look important while they're happening. They're just a regular Tuesday afternoon. Dinner at your parents' house, driving around with your friend, your dog sleeping next to you, someone laughing in the other room. Nothing special until years later when you give anything to experience it one more time. So maybe every once in a while, when you're surrounded by people you love or you're somewhere that feels like home, put your phone down, look around and take it in, because you probably won't know when it's the last time, and maybe you're not supposed to. And a lot of this has happened in my life, if I'm speaking from the bottom of my heart. And I'm not here to make this a sad video at all. I'm just here to reflect and talk about what I've been thinking about. But a lot of this has happened. One day you're hanging out with a group of friends that you met in high school, and the next you barely talk to each other. I had a similar group of friends like that as well. One of them moved to another state to change his life. One of them became a cop. One of them is in law school. And the other guy, I don't know what's going on with him. Life is just strange. Like, for real, you don't know when the last time will happen. Even with my parents, this is getting a little bit personal, but because I trust you guys. And if anybody stayed this far into the video, this is a special treat. But even my parents, they ended up divorcing and splitting up. And I didn't know when the last time we ate together was happening. It was just a regular eating at the table together, all of us. And then magically, everybody went their own separate ways. And to not end off the video on a sad note, because it's not supposed to be a sad note, we're here to talk about our thoughts and to be open with each other. But I just want you guys to learn from me to live a little more. Make sure you tell everybody you love them. Make sure to spend more time with the people you love, because you just don't know. But that's gonna do it for today's video. If you guys liked and enjoyed, I would greatly appreciate you guys subscribing. So check out the channel, check out my other videos. I just recently dropped a coffee one, which was more on the random conversations, which is pretty fun to talk about. But I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.